Welcome to our readers. Today is Wednesday, May 20th, and we are on lesson 19. So we're going to continue with flexible decoding. On Monday, we started a new book. We started to read Jackie Robinson. He led the way. And Jackie Robinson, he was the first Black player in Major League Baseball. So we had a couple of questions to answer in our assignment on Monday. And the first one was, what do you think was the most difficult part about Jackie's life growing up? And give evidence from the text. So at the beginning of the story, we learned all about Jackie's life growing up in Georgia. And this is a time when segregation was still very much in play. And we learned that Black children couldn't go to school with white children, and Black people were not welcome in his neighborhood where he lived, where Jackie lived, right? So people were really mean to him. It says, one day a girl, this is on page 13, one day a girl called Jackie names, and the girl's father threw stones at Jackie, right? So he had a really, really rough upbringing, right? He did not have equal rights. And it really wasn't fair. And he was okay at school, right? It says on page 14 and 15, he did okay, but he was really, really good at sports. And he wanted to play sports growing up, but they didn't allow Black people to play in the big sports teams, like the major leagues, like Major League Baseball, or really in any major league sports. In the football league and baseball, they didn't allow Black people. So we learned that he went to war, right? And he really did. It says on page 27 that it was not in his nature to keep quiet, okay? Well, how do we know it wasn't in his nature to keep quiet? He had to keep quiet, right, and not talk back to come play in the major leagues. The Dodgers wanted him to come play because he was so good, but just like his mama taught him, stand up for what you believe in, right? But don't fight back. And he had to keep quiet. So how did the author show that it was not in his nature to keep quiet? That was question number 2. Well, here's an instance on page 20 and 21, where Jackie Robinson was in the Army during World War II. And Black soldiers, they couldn't eat together, sleep together, or train together with white soldiers. And in the snack bar, only a few seats were set aside for Blacks. Jackie Robinson did not think that that was right. And he spoke up about it, right? He used his voice. He said, this isn't right. We're the same. We need the same rights, right? And the general agreed with him and gave him more seats. So that's one time he used his voice. Another time, back in his neighborhood, when the little girl was calling Jackie mean names and the father threw stones, and Jackie was like, well, you know what? I'm going to shout names back at you, and I'm going to throw stones right back at you. Right, so he was using his voice there as well. So that's another example, okay? So boys and girls, today we're going to take a look at the end of the story. So again, our objective today is I can try different sounds for the letter C and I. So let me move myself out of the way and let's take a look. So our strategy into our books, as the words are getting longer and trickier, when you come to a new word, you need to keep trying different sounds for the letters and chunks until you say a word you recognize and it matches the letters and it makes sense. So does that word that you say make sense when I'm reading it? Okay, you always have to stop and ask yourself that. So back when we were learning tricky I, one of the strategies, well, what do I do if I get stuck? Well, does it sound like a word I know? No? Well, then let's try something else. Try a different sound for that I. We learned that I makes different sounds. So try a different sound. And maybe now it might sound like a word that I know. We also learned we can try making the I a syllable by itself. We can also find a chunk. If you know there's a word in there and in the big word, there's a chunk that I know for sure, try chunking it. And then look at the chunk before and after that chunk, okay? Does it make sense? Okay, Monday we learned how to try different sounds for the letter C. We learned C is also kind of tricky. It makes different sounds, especially when it comes together with another letter. So we learned the C and the H sometimes makes the K sound like character. K, character. C and I come together and it sounds like sh, like in special. The CI sounds like s, like in citizen. And the soft C, s, like in practice. Okay, so when you come upon a word that's tricky and there's a C in there, sometimes we have to try a different sound for that C. Okay, so take a notice and look and see what other letters are near it. Okay, you guys are really, really good at these 2R books. You guys are rock stars. You're almost on your way to the white level. So let's practice using these strategies that we just reviewed to figure out these new words. Okay, let's practice decoding these words with this tricky C and I. I want you to pause the video here and see if you can read through all of these words. Wow, you guys are amazing. You guys are rock stars. Let's read them together now. As I'm reading them, if you didn't get it right, I want you to repeat it the right way. Georgia, national, delicious, soldiers, accident, anchor, quiet, appearance, celebrate, families, Cinderella, exciting, Florida, Christmas, and fast-paced. Give me a thumbs up if you got most of those correct. Awesome, you guys are amazing. Okay, let's take a look at our assignment, okay? We're gonna finish our book, Jackie Robinson, he led the way. We're gonna finish and we're gonna see why he is so important, okay? What did he do that makes him so important, okay? How did he use his voice to fight for equal rights? How did he promote change, okay? Please make sure you're using evidence from the text. Use specific examples, okay? Why do you think the author included the story about Jackie Robinson and the soldiers' cafeteria? We just talked about the soldiers' cafeteria, right? So why would the author include that? Well, remember, authors have a purpose when they're writing their stories, right? So just as a reminder, they might try to persuade you, right? The author is trying to persuade you of something, right? They want you to believe something that they're trying to say. They might be informing you, giving you information about a topic, or maybe they're just trying to entertain you. The author tells us a story that we will enjoy, okay? So I want you to be thinking about those things. Maybe go back and reread the piece about the soldiers, okay? So here's the rest of the story. Make sure you pause on each page to read very carefully. All right, boys and girls. So again, your assignment for today and tomorrow is to finish reading Jackie Robinson Led the Way and answer these following questions in your notebook. And then make sure you upload a picture of it to your portfolio so your teacher can see all the amazing work that you're doing. Okay? So again, number one, who was Jackie Robinson and why was he important? Number 2, why do you think the author included the story about Jackie Robinson and the soldiers' cafeteria? And what makes you think that? Okay, remember, support your opinion with evidence from the text. All right, boys and girls, nice job today, and we will see you next week.